We have some crazy news to discuss today as head coach Sheldon Keefe has called out Tyler Bertuzzi following his demotion down to the fourth line, as well as their loss against the Boston Bruins. So we're going to break that down in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as William Nylander. He continues to write his own history, so you're going to want to stay for all the news we have on this episode. But before we get into that, we notice a large percentage of you guys who are watching right now are not subscribed. We are on the road to 4,500 subscribers, and we produce 1 to 2 Leafs videos every single day. We cover all the latest news, so it would mean the world if you guys could subscribe, as we are on the road to 4,500 subscribers, and your support has been unbelievable as we pump out these daily videos. Again, 1 to 2 a day. All right, let's just get right into the news today. We have a lot to discuss, and let's get into the first topic, which is Sheldon Keefe calls out Tyler Bertuzzi. Now, obviously, the Leafs, you checked out our video last night. If you watched the game, the Leafs had a pretty heartbreaking loss against the Boston Bruins in a shootout. They could have handed the Bruins their first regulation loss of the season, but unfortunately, instead, they weren't able to capitalize in overtime or the shootout as they lost. However, Sheldon Keefe had some very, very choice words for Tyler Bertuzzi, and Tyler Bertuzzi was demoted down to the fourth line, and this is what Sheldon Keefe had to say. Keefe on demoting Bertuzzi to the fourth line. He just needs to simplify his game. Today, we had a very simple plan, and he failed to execute that, so other guys had to take his place. So he says here he just needs to simplify his game, and that's very, very true when it comes to Tyler Bertuzzi. We're all fairly familiar with Tyler Bertuzzi, but there's a few instances and there's a few things we need to discuss today. Obviously, Sheldon Keefe called him out. That's a pretty bold call out, especially now that he's down to the fourth line. Who knows if he's going to play himself out of a roster spot and they call up some guys from the AHL or the Marlies or something like that. But there was another instance in yesterday's game. Of course, we're all familiar with the Marchand incident, the Timothy Liljegren injury. No one really stepped up for Liljegren. He could be out a long period of time. We'll discuss that in a future video. But a lot of Leafs fans were coming to, coming at Tyler Bertuzzi's neck just a little bit. So if you look at this here, this was a tweet made and it got a lot of traction on Leafs Twitter. So the original tweet said, "Lol at Bertuzzi's reaction compared to everyone else in the Leafs while they have a back and forth with Marchand out there. We saw Ryan Reeves. We saw, I believe, Mitch Marner. Lots of Leafs guys. You can see another Leafs player on the right there staring at Marchand. Everyone was upset with Marchand for the very, very dirty play that ultimately got Liljegren injured. But Bertuzzi was just sitting there away from everyone else laughing, and Rachel Dory says that should earn Bertuzzi a seat in the press box. Quite frankly, he hasn't played well enough and was demoted to the fourth line. Coupled with this, grab a seat and watch for the night." Leafs fans are not happy with Tyler Bertuzzi whatsoever, and obviously Sheldon Keefe wasn't either. He didn't call out that incident directly, but again, he called him out in a very, very bold way, said he's not executing, he's failing to play well, he's failing to perform, and it's very, very true. If we look at Tyler Bertuzzi, he signed a 1-year, $5.5 million contract, I believe, with the Maple Leafs this prior offseason, and he has not performed at all. He's obviously a winger. He's supposed to be, people think that he's supposed to be, a gritty guy, a bit of a power forward defenseman, but in his career, even though he has the Bertuzzi last name, he's not really a guy who's known for a whole lot of hits, a whole lot of fights, maybe fights once or twice a year, similar to Max Domi, but he didn't stand up for Liljegren. He's playing horrible hockey. I'm just going to call it how it is. So far this season, he is playing horrible hockey. You can watch it. The eye test says he's playing horrible hockey. The stats are saying he's playing horrible hockey. And from JFresh here, it says, Domi and Bertuzzi fight like once or twice a year. Neither of them is a prolific hitter. If you expected them to bring the physicality and intimidation, that's your fault for fixating on their last names. That's something important for Leafs fans to understand. But at the same time, don't laugh at the fact that, Marchand is a guy who we all know. His entire career, he's a dirty player. He gets dirty hits. Liljegren got a very, very dirty hit. And Brad Marchand, in this case, was getting laughed at by Tyler Bertuzzi instead of getting, whatever you want Bertuzzi to do. Who knows? But it was a very, very interesting scenario there. And it all kind of culminated together because we had Sheldon Keefe call out Bertuzzi. You have NHL Twitter calling out Bertuzzi. You have Leafs fans calling out Bertuzzi. He's playing terribly. What's next for Tyler Bertuzzi? Who knows? But he needs to step it up, and he needs to step it up very, very quickly. Even if that means getting some more grit into your system, into your team. Because Liljegren playing phenomenally, and unfortunately he might be out long-term with a potential broken ankle, which is very, very unfortunate. But some interesting takes from Leafs fans. There's also something good to keep in mind is that obviously Gregor was really good last night, and Gregor has not had a bad game as a Maple Leaf so far this season. Obviously, his expectations weren't crazy, but he's playing very, very well, and that's maybe a happy medium or, something we can at least take from yesterday's game is that Gregor's playing very, very good, even though Bertuzzi is playing very, very poor. And it really sucks. Obviously, Bertuzzi had a very, very good playoffs last season with the Bruins. He had a very, very solid year in 2021 with the Red Wings. Had a decent career with the Red Wings, even dating back to 2018. But this season, through 10 games, he only has 3 points, 2 goals, 1 assist. But It's not all about the points either. Obviously, he has 2 goals in 10 games, which isn't, horrible. But like Sheldon Keefe says here, he needs to simplify his game. He's not executing what Sheldon Keefe's plan is. And this also kind of goes back to the fact that a lot of players are maybe losing their trust in Sheldon Keefe. Sheldon Keefe's getting a lot of flack as of late. That might be a topic for another video, but Sheldon Keefe's losing the locker room a little bit. Bertuzzi has lost Sheldon Keefe's trust, and it is just escalating from here. And it all culminated again with this horrific injury that happened to, I don't know if horrific is a word, or poor bad injury that happened because of Brad Marchand to Timothy Liljegren last night. And you have someone else calling out Sheldon Keefe on Twitter saying, here's my issue with Keefe starting Kempf in overtime. If you're that concerned about winning the faceoff, why not start Tavares and Nylander? And that's an interesting thing to discuss as well, as the Sheldon Keefe's strategic choices in yesterday's game throughout the season. And maybe if Sheldon Keefe continues to, perform this way as a coach, I guess, he could be on the hot seat. I'm not ready to say that yet, but people are starting to turn on, and the players might be losing some of the, trust in him, the faith in him. And ultimately, Tyler Bertuzzi is, Keefe does not have any faith in him. So very, very interesting topic. There was a lot to cover regarding that topic, but let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. Are you happy with the Bertuzzi signing so far? Obviously, he had pretty good years prior with the Red Wings and the Bruins, but very, very interesting. And maybe it's because it was his former team that he didn't stand up, and former teammate of Brad Marchand. Who knows? But ultimately, unfortunate for the Maple Leafs. Let's get into the second topic now, which is a very, very interesting one, as it's more positive. We're finally going to have some positive news today, despite the past couple of days, specifically yesterday being very, very rough for the Maple Leafs because of the Liljegren injury. Some more injuries. A lot of our defense are down now. We need someone to replace in the top 4, but William Nylander has been absolutely phenomenal. He got another point yesterday, extending his streak now to 10 games. And this was before yesterday's game. William Nylander is the first player in Leafs franchise history to begin a season with a 9-game point streak. And now he's writing his own history, as he's now on a 10-game point streak. So he's making Leafs history, and he's doing so in phenomenal fashion. He has been, again, coming into the season, the discussion was about his contract. Will he get re-signed? Some reports have come out that he's going to hopefully be re-signed very, very soon. But he's playing himself into more and more money as the Leafs continue to wait and ponder. Or maybe William Nylander at this point is waiting and pondering. Maybe he wants to hit, a different contract or hit free agency, whatever he wants to do, restricted free agency. He needs to be signed if you're the Maple Leafs very, very soon, because he is playing unbelievably. He has a 10-game point streak at the time of recording right now. And if you're watching this video a couple weeks from now, I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps putting up a point a game for the foreseeable future. He did it against arguably the best team in the league yesterday night against the Boston Bruins, and he's really keeping us in every game. He's playing both sides of the puck. He's playing great defense. He's even showing some physicality, occasionally throwing a forecheck in there. Who knows? It's a very, very fun time to be a William Nylander fan. And we need some more hype around the team, especially because we did lose yesterday's game. It was against the Boston Bruins, a phenomenal team. We do need to make some moves, especially to address the defense, get some more back checkers and things like that. But William Nylander has been the one, alongside Austin Matthews, the star of the show for the Maple Leafs this season. And if he continues to perform like this, we should be in good hands, as long as everyone else like Mitch Marner steps up, and Brad Treliving as well needs to step up and get us a defenseman. As I discussed yesterday, Zadorov would be a phenomenal, piece to pick up. But that is even elevated right now because of the Timothy Liljegren injury. But that'll wrap up the video. Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on these topics. We're going to have more videos coming for you guys. Expect another video out of me tomorrow, and potentially even another video on the channel today. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.